might come for you.
You hear stories, urban legends, that sound so impossible they could never be true. That's what most people thought until two miners found something that looks like it came out of your nightmare. I'm Doom, and you just clocked into the graveyard shift. Welcome to Pride Lands, where we take the stories from the other side and bring them to the light. I'm your host Doom, the bearer of bad news, and tonight's episode will have you questioning reality. Excuse me real quick. Hey, I'm recording. Can you come back later or something?
Hey, how's it going? Are you Doom?
Who are you?
Hey, I'm Minion. I'm supposed to be working with you or something. Headquarters sent me down, HQ, big bosses.
I wasn't aware I needed help or anything. I think I got everything under control, but thank you.
Oh, it's not help, silly. I'm what you would call a co-host or something.
Right. Well, I'm in the middle of something right now. If you would like, you can
Wait, is this the mic? Oh, scary voices, scary voices.
We're gonna have some ground rules here, okay? I am the host, so that means I have the mic, okay? You are going to be the co-host. That means you're going to sit over there and let me tell this story. Am I clear enough on that?
Ooh, okay, boss man, okay. So I'll go over, sit over here, and you guys can just finish your story, and then I can come back later, and we can talk about it.
Okay, thank you. Where was I? Now, did these two gold miners find something new, or did they just find something that used to be a legend? The world is full of myth and legends. Now, the legend we're going to talk about today has many different names from many different cultures, but we will refer to them as the Little People Eaters. The belief of these Little People Eaters is that they may have been sun worshippers because there were burial grounds with their heads that faced the west, and that's the direction the sun comes from. But these burial grounds don't exist anymore due to farming and people taking over the land. Some might say these little people may have come from the river people from the Hindustan or Egypt due to the fact that there are lore of dwarves in these countries. Some might say that these little people may have come from the river people of Hindustan or Egypt due to the fact there are lore of dwarves in these countries. All that is known about these people are from the stories that are passed down from generation to generation. But the stories say that these people, though primitive, understood the meaning of making pottery, making stone axes, and farming. But not much is known about these people. Cherokee believed that these people were short, could hardly reach up to a man's knee, so roughly shorter than 3 feet. But they were very good looking and physically fit. They also had long hair that almost touched the ground. The story goes for the Cherokee is that they would do good deeds for people that treated them well, but if you saw them, it was bad luck. The people that were unfortunate to see them would die shortly after. People that have gone lost in the woods would get help by these people, and then after they got home and spoke about them and their strange encounter, would end up dying. The little people would even warn them not to speak about them, and even say their name is bad luck. In Shoshone, the name Nimigar translates to people eater, which may sound scary. But however, these people were described to be roughly 20 to 36 inches in height. Now what makes them scary is that they also had sharp teeth and were known to be very aggressive towards others. On top of the sharp teeth, Nimigars had poison arrows that they would shoot out their small bows. Not only were they aggressive towards humans, but they also were brutal towards their own kind. If the tribe noticed that someone was ill or not giving any effort towards the community, they would bash their head in. This sounds like the work of a fairy tale story, but that would all change in 1932. In 1932, two gold miners named Cecil Maine and Frank Carr would be found working on the gold vein, located 60 miles south of Casper, Wyoming on the San Pedro Mountains. While working on the gold vein, Cecil and Frank ran into rocks. To avoid the solid rocks, they decided to use dynamite to blow the rock away. When they used the explosives, Cecil and Frank found that they opened up a cave that was 15 feet long and 4 feet high. Curious, the two moved forward into the cave. As they moved into the cave, Cecil and Frank would notice a small mummified person sitting cross-legged on the ledge. When looking at the mummy, they could see that there was heavy eyelids, a flat nose, and thin lips on the face. What was interesting is that the head was a dark gelatin substance. Cecil and Frank would take the mummy to Casper to show them what they found. They would soon be flooded by many scientists interested in doing studies on it. Allegedly, tests were done by the American Museum of Natural History to confirm that the mummy was an authentic person. The anthropology department of Harvard University would confirm that it was an actual person. They ran an X-ray on the body, which revealed that there was a full skeleton. When they took the X-ray, they noticed something more sinister. They noticed that the body had several trauma to it. They saw a damaged spine, broken collarbone, that the head was smashed in by a blunt object. Oddly enough, the scientists saw that the teeth were overly pointed. The mummy would be displayed for sideshows throughout the years until a man named T. Goodman would purchase it. However, in the 1950s, after the death of Goodman, the mummy would be handed off to a businessman named Leonard Wallard, who has come to pass in the 1980s. To this day, no one knows or has seen where the whereabouts are.
Wait, so you're telling me they actually found a mummy of like one of these little people?
Yeah, that's what I just said, but yeah. So obviously they can't find it, but yeah, people have seen it. There is scientific study on it. It was actually bought and sold. There's documentations, pictures of it. There's a lot of information on this creature.
Yeah, but couldn't it just be like a mummified child or like a baby? And then people just said it was these little people?
See, that's what people thought. But after doing research in the science and all that stuff, they actually found out that it was 65 years old.
Wait a minute, so this thing was 65 years old and only like 16 inches tall? Wow, like that makes me look tall.
Now, you gotta respect the creature. You know, we just had this whole discussion. You can't be rude, or we're not even supposed to say their name. Like, we're supposed to just kind of be respectful towards them, and then we can have respect given to us.
But do you actually be this? Or is this some mythical, imaginary thing? Or do you actually believe it?
I'm not here to tell people what to believe. I just give them the information and they can decide. I did my research and now it's their time to do their research. If they believe it, then that's on them. If they don't believe it, that's on them. I'm just a middleman.
Oh, okay. So can I tell you what I believe?
I don't really care what you believe. I guess you can tell me what you believe.
Well, if you think about it, there's like lores and myths across the whole country and the whole world. You know, we have fairies, dwarves, like gnomes, like all these tiny things. And maybe they're all the same creature. Just different names over across different things. And, you know, because fairies are magical and, like, these people eaters are magical. Like, maybe there's a correlation. You know, maybe they're cousins, related, you know, you never know.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. You know, I never really thought about that. But, yeah, like, if you think about it, some of these creatures, like, because there's, like, Bigfoot and the Yeti. It's like, all the same creatures just have different names. So maybe all these creatures and lores and everything might be the same thing. It could be also a form of identification. It could be just a human that had birth defects that was just really tiny.
Yeah, but I don't know if there'd be like a whole story in like myth and legend off one guy that was like 65 years old. Like you have to think about that. What are the odds of that? Like everybody in the world believes in fairies and everything because one guy was tiny. That doesn't make any sense.
See, that's up to the viewers to like figure out. If they believe it, that's up to them. If they don't, that's on them. I feel like I'm just repeating myself here.
I get it. You know, the whole you do you, boo boo kind of thing. So I feel like this is pretty, like, groundbreaking evidence, you know? So why don't more people know about this?
Well, actually, within the last few months and even years, people started to come forward with documentation, stories about actually seeing these little people in today's society. And there's a whole bunch of different like posts, and I guess one person even has a video of it.
So did they just come out of a hiding or something? Or what's going on with everything?
See, that's what I don't know. Maybe it was like this is what people have to go and actually look up for themselves. I think we'll leave it up to the listeners to decide. But that does it for today's podcast, and we'll see you next week. I'm Doom.
And I'm Minion, don't forget about me.
Thank you for listening to Pride Lands, the Graveyard Shift. Have you ever dealt with the unexplained or paranormal? Then follow us on our Reddit page, Graveyard Shift, and tell us your stories that kept you up at night. And we'll see you next time you clock in on the Graveyard Shift.